Let me say this about intersectionality. As a white passing Asian man who grew up in an expectedly homogeneously white geographic location, I don't actually have to stretch the imagination to know exactly what it feels like to be in the closet about who you are, who you're around, people who are truly unsafe. I grew up knowing what to say and to whom and what not to say and around whom. My friends knew who not to say what in front of. My mother taught me that through her experience growing up in the same location. And one only need to look to my maternal grandmother and the way some, not all, but some, would respond to her. So let's talk about identity for a minute. I remember my mother telling me a story when, about when she was very, very young, or, first going into elementary school and, how she was picked on for being different. How some days she would go home and she would think things like, well, why can't I just be blonde and white like everyone else? And, then maybe the other kids won't, make my life a living hell, right? And, resenting my grandmother because of it, because little kids are kind of stupid. That's the point, but ultimately resenting my grandmother for being Japanese. Now, I completely understood that when she told me, because when I was a little kid, I had similar feelings. And at times when I was old enough, when the rednecks were really starting to show themselves and who their parents wanted them to be. But this was before I was quite confident enough in myself to wear my pride on my sleeve, if you will. Fear and shame of one's existence because of external forces is not outside of my realm of understanding. So, that said, when I came in this morning and looked at my social media feed, I was blown up from the throat up, and it was it wasn't completely unexpected. It seems that a lot of folks were wondering where those mean tweets were coming from, as I guess I could have done a better job explaining the purpose and the meaning, but at the time, honestly, I was simply just boiling. Okay, so if an explanation is needed and asked, an explanation shall be given. So yesterday, while filming and wrapping up the last segment of the show, talking about the lack of intersectionality of this new group of previously silent Amber Heard supporters, and of course showcasing Tanara Burke's commenting that the Depp Heard verdict will have no impact on the movement that she started. And I think we should give the Me Too movement's founder some credit for knowing what she is talking about, right? I got a call from someone in the LGBTQ community, and I received a message saying, just found out someone is bashing and doxing businesses in support of Pride. I immediately called, and I was informed that yes, in fact, some psycho bully Christian national lady was in fact screenshotting and posting small businesses in connection with gatherings and about those gatherings and trying to rally the troops in opposition to events and posting this trash, God knows where, in an attempt to terrorize not only members of the queer community at large, but also its supporters or allies or accomplices, whatever you prefer. Now, eventually, one of those posts that was found, obviously, it was reported and removed from Facebook for hate speech. The one that was found, again, Lord knows where else she posted or how many people had posted similar effects. Now, considering the newly released woke heat map, which I covered last week on this show, and how fascists in Missouri have funded and built an app specifically targeting schools, and now are targeting Pride Fest events, Pride events all across the state. Yeah, when they're showcasing this for all the amosexual psychopaths in Missouri to study. And yes, in my rage and furious anger at the idea that some homophobic, transphobic tradwife would attempt to literally target events that I'm attending, that my family is attending, that my friends are attending, that my friends are bringing children to and will be at. And considering all of the things that we have been reading and hearing about and seeing, I decided enough is enough. And so I posted this mean tweet. It reads, "I'm done hiding and I'm done apologizing. Homophobic and transphobic tradwives, caught doxing supporters of the queer community belong in the kitchen where they can wait forever for their turn to speak. If your feelings get in the way because you think that reproductive organs are more important than civil rights for the queer community or for the safety and security of its members and allies or accomplices to gather, spread love, and express themselves, fuck all the way off." And so I tagged as many people as possible, as I possibly could, that the Facebook algorithm would let me, which is very small. I even tried to circumvent the system, but that failed. So honestly, if you made the cut, you should consider yourself pretty lucky. But the response was less than pleasant, and yet sort of exactly what I expected. So look, if you're hearing this explanation and you're still offended because of what I said or how I said it, good for you. And I mean that. My recent comments regarding the LGBTQ plus community are synonymous to those who justify hunting to the ease of access and lax gun laws. People's feelings are not above the safety and security of others. Intersectionality, or the lack thereof, bears a cost. And that cost is either challenging the accepted perception of people or risking people's lives. I mean, look, if being a safe person for members of that community at a time like this means getting shit posted by my own side for speaking up, then so be it. Bigotry is as genderless as it is raceless. And you don't have to believe me. You just ask the Supreme Court. So here's the thing. You can call me what you want to. Say whatever you think about me. But the truth of the matter is this. I don't need a second opinion to know that I am the world's absolute worst example of a supporter of fourth wave feminism. But I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to grow. One thing I'm not going to do is defend bigots regardless of their background or keep silent for the sake of political correctness when it comes to bigotry. There is no political correct way to handle them. There's only one way: shouting them out of fucking existence. So if the means by which my creating a safe space for members of the queer community at large offends you because I'm not creating a safe space for you, then perhaps use that as an opportunity to consider where you are when it comes to intersectionality. People's lives are much more important than hurt feelings or white women's tears. And to those within the community, listen, you're going to make it through this time. We're all going to make it through this time. Okay? This is going to be the weirdest, roughest month basically ever. But look, you have every single right to be exactly who you are, and damn anyone who tries to shut you out or shout you down, and fuck anyone who isn't willing to stand by you when shit like this happens. I know that all you want is to exist. I get that. Believe me. I get that. I know firsthand what it's like struggling with identity when you're in an environment where it feels like everyone is literally against you. And growing up that way. But that's what this month is about. That's why there are public gatherings and safe spaces that are being created for you. This is your time. Whether you find yourself being comforted or comfortable in expressing yourself in any way you want to. This is for you to be you. And I hope that you all truly feel the love that each and every one of you deserves. This weekend, gal next door to me, over the weekend, I saw, she overheard a conversation, marched over to these two other folks who were talking, and she just had tears in her eyes. And she heard their story. They were talking about the rough time that they were having. I say it was a couple of folks. There were two of them, and then there were two more folks who came by that I had actually chased down with a couple of stickers and whatnot, because I seen they had the pride flags and whatnot. And so there's a group of 4 people. I'm kind of standing on the outskirts there, and this gal walks up, literally, and they're talking about, oh, I don't know how my mom didn't know, it's gonna be so rough to tell her because of I'm gonna have a hard time telling my family, and I'm not sure if they're gonna support me. And then I know my mom's not gonna support me. My dad didn't give a shit, but and just like sharing these moments with each other, and like really just coming together and collecting. This gal walks up, and with tears in her eyes, I heard her say, "If your mother won't love you, I'm a mom, and I'll love you just the way you are." And she gave them each special gifts that she had handmade herself to sell at a Pride event that she was looking to attend. So you all deserve that. Each and every one of you. This is your month. You all deserve that kind of love. And as for the rest of you losing your minds because of how I chose to shout down bigots, I don't think there's any room left to talk about hurt feelings.